What's up guys? Today I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on Lightroom to get those darker photos looking amazing. Hopefully I can get this done in 5 minutes, not to waste your time or mine, and get you guys some great photos in a short amount of time. That kind of rhymed. Let's get to the video. So I'm going to be showing you guys how I transformed this photo, which is pretty dark in the subject area, to something that's a little more light and attractive, like this, with a beautiful sunset in the background. Alright, so once you guys have your photo in Lightroom, we're going to go over here. I already have the shadows turned up a little bit, but I'm going to turn them up a little bit. We're going to turn the whites down just a tad bit, just to get all of those highlights back into the sky. We're going to leave the exposure and contrast alone for now. Highlights, we could bring those down a little bit. Under the curve section, we're going to do a little bit of an S curve where we take the lows and then the highs, and then we'll go over to the red and do the same, and then the highs. Green curve, we're going to bring the lows up, highs down into the red. We're going to go into the blue now, bring the blue up a little bit higher, and then the highs down. I'm going to saturate it just a tad bit. Alright, so then we're going to come in here and saturate the reds just a tad. I'm going to saturate the oranges. The yellow, maybe a little bit. So we're going to drag these blues down into the shadows just a little bit. Perfect. And then for the highlights, let's give it more of a red. Ooh, that's already looking pretty good. Under the effects panel, I normally don't touch anything because it makes it look a little on the weird side. Sharpening, I normally like to leave this down pretty far. Optics, I do like to go in and enable lens corrections. So now where the really fun part comes in and into getting a photo that looks something like this is that we have to go under the mask panel, which is right here. We're going to go and create new masks. If you don't have the newer versions of Lightroom where you can have the AI program on here, select the subject in the sky, you can go in and manually do it with the brush. So for now, I'm going to go in here and just select subject. It's going to go in here and find it. It's already perfect in terms of what I already want to light up, which is the darker sections of the photo and where I want my eye to focus more on the photo. So once we have the mask selected, we're going to go under the exposure tab. We're going to lighten it up just a tad bit. We're going to bump the highlights down just a tad because in bumping the exposure up, it kind of took the highlights into a spot where I didn't really want it. Shadows, that would be way too high. Maybe these whites, I might want to bring them up so we can see more of the rim and the bicycle tire. That's way too much. Probably, I don't know, somewhere around there. That looks nice. Alright, so I think that's pretty good for the subject as of right now. Now we're going to go under here, going to hit the blue button, we're going to create a new mask, and we want that to be the sky, because that's the main part of this photo. I'm going to let it do its thing. So now that it's worked, we're going to go under here, make sure it's selected. I'm going to immediately bring down the exposure. So on the point curve for the sky, I'm going to take the shadows and bring them more into the blue because I do want the clouds to look a little bluer for the photo, for this kind of look. We're going to take the highlights down into the orange because that's more of the sunset color. And then here, that's way too purple. I'm going to leave them more towards the blue. It's way too green. Kind of liking that. Here, way too purple. Do a little bit of that. Too green. Ooh, that kind of looks pretty, but maybe a little, I'm thinking right there. Getting these exactly the same every time is nearly impossible as we're going in and changing points on the curve that aren't finite. We're going and moving it to what best suits the eye. So when you go and do this kind of stuff, it's mostly up to you as to what colors you want to show in the highs and the low regions on the point curve. The point curve is super helpful in grading those colors and making them look a little more vibrant, or bringing out colors in the sunset or in the shadows that you want to see versus ones that you don't. So I think I'm pretty happy with the way that this photo turned out. Again, it's not exactly the same as what I had here before, but I'm still pretty happy with it. Instead of masking the subject how I decided to mask it here, you could use the linear gradient tool, which is the same thing. You just go underneath here, hit new mask, it's under linear gradient. We go here, we're gonna draw, click, drag, and draw where we want the subject to be. So I'm thinking right here, and then the sunset is the other part. This part of the image, if you remember, was super dark, so I'm going to try and target that. But you could go in here and then adjust the exposure to be a little bit lighter, because originally it was very, very dark. So that's one way of doing it other than the way that I showed you. Alright, so if you found this video helpful, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I think I'm pretty happy with the way that this turned out the second time around. Again, it's really hard to get two photos looking the exact same way, as your eye kind of picks out different things at different times, but I encourage you to mess around with the tools that I showed you about today in order to make your photos look absolutely amazing. So, if you like this video, be sure to give it a big like, comment down below if you like the video, comment what other kinds of videos you want me to do. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video, but until next time, peace. Keep on shooting.